The Kansas Jayhawks used to be one of the worst teams in college football until Lance Leipold arrived on campus. Today, we're taking that a step further. We are adding one superstar to the Kansas Jayhawks until they win a national championship. To make this challenge even more difficult, we are going to be using the 12-team playoff as well as using the 2024 Big 12 teams. Our first season is all right. We finish 8-5, and that's not too bad, but that means we get to add a superstar. We get a big spin right off the bat, the Georgia Bulldogs, meaning we're going to add Michael Williams to help elevate both our defense and our defensive line. We begin the season with the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, and Michael Williams absolutely bullying this offensive line for the Bulldogs, though Louisiana Tech does find ways to get our defense into bad positions. We find a way to win 31-10 to start the year. We're not exactly getting to national championship level. And as you can see, we finish our season 8-5 once again. Jalen Daniels has a solid year, over 2,900 yards, 26 touchdowns. He is someone that we are not replacing in his video. Same with Devin Neal, 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns. The passing attack was all right. We are kind of a run heavy team here. And Michael Williams has an absolute dominant year, 33 tackles for loss, 12 sacks. Next in the wheel, we get Louisville. We are going to take Ashton Gelati, a defensive end that will be a good complement to Michael Williams. Another inferior opponent in Rice, and Jalen Daniels is making us see why. A big time run by Daniels down the left side. Rice finally catches him inside the 20. And later in this drive, Devin Neal is going to add another big chunk, and eventually Kansas is going to punch it in. Daniels gets in for a score. It's a lot closer in the fourth quarter than we'd want. 14-10. We are driving here, trying to increase our lead, but our rushing attack simply can't punch it in. So we have to settle for a field goal. And our defense needs to get a stop as the fourth quarter ensues. We get a sack there. And JT Daniels is trying to find guys downfield. Michael Williams is running people over, but he simply cannot do it all by himself as JT Daniels finds ways to get the ball downfield until the end here. And as time is winding down and running out, we find a way to hold on. That doesn't bode well when the number 3 Oklahoma Sooners come to town. This one will be a little bit more difficult. This isn't a walk in the park. We're going to get off to a hot start here. Jalen Daniels finds his receiver downfield. Arnold is going to catch it for a big gain, and the rushing attack takes over from here. Daniels makes a nice cut up the middle to continue this drive. He's looking downfield, throws a nice pass to Quentin Skinner, put us up 7-0. On the ensuing drive, though, Oklahoma is trying to answer. Tyree Walker almost breaks that off for a touchdown, and Dylan Gabriel is trying to move the ball down the field through the air, though our pressure is getting to him. And as he tries to hit a deep pass here, he is not going to get that done. On the next drive, Oklahoma is looking downfield, and Dylan Gabriel throws a terrible pass. Rich Miller picks it off, and suddenly we're up 14-0. In a big response, Dylan Gabriel takes the next drive, and he is going to break things open with a big time run here. He is going to try to get in the end zone, though Dotson is going to track him down, though Oklahoma will punch it in as Walker is able to find the end zone. The rest of the game so far hasn't gone our way, though Kobe Bryant is trying to make up for that as he picks off Dylan Gabriel here, though Jalen Daniels is going to struggle to move the ball down the field on the ensuing drive, cannot make up for that, and throws an interception himself. It's a terrible decision, and Oklahoma is going to hang on for a 34-21 win as the offense simply can't find anywhere to move. The offense is scoring at a decent clip, but the defense has struggled a little bit to stop teams, and when they do, our offense seems to struggle. And while we finished 10-3, we do miss the college football playoff. Jalen Daniels, another solid year, 2,700 yards, 25 touchdowns. Rushing attack once again is led by Devin Neal. And the passing attack, again, it looks all right. It's not great. It takes a step back actually this year. And the defense has some nice pieces with Williams and Gelati. Back to the wheel, we get another huge spin with LSU, which means that we're going to boost our defense once again with Harold Perkins, a linebacker that's going to be a major impact player and should help this defense a lot. We get the number 13 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Jalen Daniels is trying to do what he can, but the Irish defense is too much, and we lose 24-6. Number 10, Utah Utes. The schedule is a lot more difficult than I was anticipating. Utah comes to town. Kansas is hoping to pull off the upset at home, and the rushing attack late in the game is going to get things going. Game is tied at 17. Jalen Daniels in that offense are trying to put the ball into the end zone as the game wears on. His arm has been an asset so far. He's making some nice throws in tight coverage, and he does punch it in for a 24-17 lead. Utah is trying to answer, though, and finds a big play on their own. Money Parks with a big gain, and Quinton Jackson is going to walk in for a touchdown. On the ensuing kickoff, though, we're going to get a nice return here. Laughlin is going to take this up the right side. He's going to take it down the sideline and almost get to the 50-yard line. A big return, and Kansas capitalizes. A big throw there from Daniels to Arnold gets them in good position, and later Neal is going to punch it in for a big win. We once again missed the college football playoff, but it was a bigger year for Jalen Daniels. 3,500 yards, 33 touchdowns. The rushing attack a little bit worse, but the passing attack takes a step forward. Harold Perkins leads the team in tackles. Back to the wheel, we get the Wisconsin Badgers. We could take some offensive players, but I really think we need a secondary player, so we're going with Ricardo Hallman. Oregon comes to town. Again, we're having some big-time matchups, and our offense, as I say that we needed defense, our offense actually is probably what needs some help as we are struggling to punch the ball in the end zone. A turnover here gets Jordan Birch down inside Kansas territory, and it's the defense that struggles against Oklahoma State, though the offense only puts up 14. Another 8-5 season, again, solid, but not what we're going for this video. The stats, again, are pretty much the same as what we've seen. The rushing attack is leading the way, and the defense looks pretty solid. Like I said, we need to go offense this one, and Alabama shows up. We're going to take a lineman because our offensive line is very poor. Tyler Booker is going to be a nice addition, a massive player that will help our rushing attack and will keep Jalen Daniels upright. Schedule is a little bit more favorable this year as Cal is on the schedule early on. Jalen Daniels is rolling out to right, a 28-24 lead, turns into 35-24, and Kansas adds a field goal to make it 38-24. As Cal is trying to keep this game alive, an interception is thrown. Lassiter picks it off, and that's going to secure the win for the Kansas Jayhawks to get things started. It's a big year as Kansas makes it to the Big 12 championship game. This could put them into the college football playoff. And as we're down 7-6, Texas Tech extends their lead to make it 14-6. So Jalen Daniels and Arnold respond with a big time touchdown to potentially tie this game up, and a 2-point conversion is good. Texas Tech does add a late field goal in the first half. Late in the fourth quarter, Texas Tech has extended their lead to 10. Jalen Daniels is making some really nice throws as the receivers are laying out, and he is trying to tie this game up as quickly as possible. They score there. Kansas does get the onside kick, and later they're driving down the field and have to settle for a field goal, though they tie the game up. And with 4 seconds left, we're just looking to go to overtime. Tyler Shuck throws a deep pass down the middle, and it's going to be caught for a touchdown. Texas Tech is going to pull away with an awesome way to end the game. A nice year, though, for Kansas, 11-3. Jalen Daniels, once again, 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns. Devin Neal, a nice year at 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns, a 1,000-yard receiver as well. Tyler Booker looks really good, and our defense is getting in the backfield. Now we can add another explosive weapon to our offense. We get Oregon on the wheel, and Evan Stewart is going to be the pick, someone who can bolster our passing attack and make things a lot easier for Jalen Daniels, find a guy who can get open frequently. The Clemson Tigers are on the schedule early on, the number 9 Clemson Tigers. That makes life very difficult for Kansas as we're down 28-17 in the fourth quarter. Jalen Daniels is trying to do everything he can to keep this game close. An interception later in the fourth quarter makes life difficult, and his accuracy is really hurting right now as he is throwing things all over the field and Clemson is capitalizing. Not the start you want late in the video, as a 3-2 start is a very disappointing way to begin the season. Jalen Daniels is trying to make up for those mistakes he made early on. He finds his new favorite target in Evan Stewart. Stewart is doing a great job of getting open, and Daniels is hitting him. A nice connection, and Daniels throws a nice pass here to tie things up at 7. He's looking deep once again, and Arnold is just making play after play. His wide receivers are doing great things, and Devin Neal punches in later. Down 3, Danny Stutzman's going to pick this fumble up to make it 24-14. A really unfortunate time to have that, but Jalen Daniels and Evan Stewart respond. Finds him deep to put them in Oklahoma territory, and later he's going to run play action, throw a post over the middle, and Stewart comes down with it there. Inside the red zone, he's going to punch it in. Luke Grimm with the touchdown, and later as they get the ball back, Grimm is open once again, wide open downfield, get them inside the 30. Devin Neal punches it in to give them the lead, and they're able to hang on as Dylan Gabriel's unable to get into the end zone. Hits Jalil Farouk, though. A return to the Big 12 championship for the Kansas Jayhawks, this time against UCF. We kick a field goal to go up 31-19. Michael Williams is absolutely destroying his matchup, but the passing defense is struggling right now until Kobe Bryant picks up John Rice Plumlee, and we hang on for a Big 12 championship win. It means we make our first appearance in the college football playoff, and we face a familiar foe in the Clemson Tigers. It's been a defensive battle to start this game, but Highshaw is going to take this all the way here, finally find some space, and he's going to take it for a 76-yard touchdown to give Kansas the lead. Clemson adds a field goal in the third quarter as time expires. And as time is winding down in the fourth quarter, Clemson is moving the ball down the field. Kansas is trying to get a stop. Cade Klubnik is looking for his man downfield, and Brown lays out for the catch there. And later they punch it in to give themselves a 10-7 lead. Kansas can't do anything as they lose 10-7. Again, another solid year, 11-3. Obviously not a national championship. A little bit rocky for Jalen Daniels in the passing attack, though the rushing attack appears to be just fine. The defense, again, very disruptive. Can they take another step, and can the offense do its part to get to a national championship? Back to the wheel once again, we get Minnesota, and believe it or not, they do have a player I'm interested in, Ariante Ursary, a very good tackle that will help our offensive line. He'll be right next to Tyler Booker. Ursary is going to be a big addition as the number 15 Oregon Ducks are on the schedule early. Devin Neal punches it in from 14 yards out, and the offense really does its part. A 28-7 lead in the fourth quarter turns it 35-7. The offense does appear to be better as we score 48 points against Utah. An Oklahoma loss hurts, but it's not enough to keep us out of the college football playoff. We get the 3 seed, and our first matchup is going to be a familiar foe in Kansas State. We already won this game once this year. It was just recently, won the Big 12 championship, and Kansas is looking to punch things in here late in the fourth quarter. Jalen Daniels gives them a 31-21 lead. Phillip Brooks nearly takes this to the house after breaking multiple tackles, but ultimately it's the defense that steps up huge. Kobe Bryant with another big-time interception late in a game, and Kansas is going to win. Next up is a surprising Boise State Broncos team who's a number 2 seed. That would totally happen in real life. And right off the bat, we are once again down against the Broncos. We are finding ways, though, to battle back. Jalen Daniels rolls out to the left here. His legs have been an invaluable resource for this offense. Punch is in for a 7-6 deficit. Missed extra point is very disappointing, but the Kansas offense gets right back to work late in the first half. Jalen Daniels is looking to keep things alive, picks up a big first down with his legs, and once again showcases that his arm can be an asset. Throws an absolute dime there to Luke Grimm. And late in the fourth quarter, we're up 20-14. Devin Neal is doing his part. Again, it's the guys that are already on the roster that are making the biggest impact late in this video, which is surprising. Daniels punches it in, and a 28-14 lead is going to be enough. Another timely interception. Ricardo Hallman make it to the national championship game, and once again, we face the Oklahoma Sooners. Lost to them earlier this season, so this is a revenge game. Jalen Daniels, down 14-7, is trying to pick up yards, get in the end zone here. The defense for Oklahoma has made life difficult for this Kansas offense, but Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal are doing their part to keep this team alive. Down 21-14 in the second half. Jalen Daniels' arm is going to take a step forward, but again, Devin Neal has been a huge weapon for this team. The defense steps up on the ensuing drive, gets a couple of stops there, and on 3rd and 10, Dylan Gabriel is looking down the field, throws an interception to Harold Perkins. The old guys are doing their part, and now the new additions are stepping up in a big way. Devin Neal gets a nice rush here, a gaping hole that left side. Again, Ursary and Booker, great additions. Devin Neal punches it in to give us a 28-21 lead. Dylan Gabriel's trying to tie things up, but our secondary isn't having it. On the last play of the game, we have a scare once again, but Kansas finds a way to hold on. National championship win for the Kansas Jayhawks. A number of really good additions, but again, Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal were the stars of the show. Getting those superstars was great, and Kansas finds a way to get to the top of college football. Who do you want to see next in this series? We've done a number of teams already. Some of these have been easier than others. Kansas has been the latest. Make sure you comment on the video of who you want to see next. And as always, subscribe to the channel.